Hey, my name's James Nicholson. I hope you guys are well. And in this video, we're going to talk about, should you use a letting agent to manage your investment properties? Well, keep watching to the end because I'm going to give you a really stark response to this, because I think it's something that we really should look at as investors. Now, there are people on both sides of the fence, right? Some people say you should not use a letting agent. Some people, and the reason for not using a letting agent is that you can save money, right? So you can manage it yourself. And if you've got a small portfolio, that doing that will get you more money in your pocket. Now, other people are on the other side of the fence and they say, absolutely, you should use a letting agent because your time is more important and they can fix issues that you might not be able to do yourself. Now, that's really, really key here, is to getting this stuff sorted. Now, I am on the fence that I think that you should use a letting agency. Now, I've been a property investor since 1999, and I have a number of properties in different areas in the UK. I have in Hastings, up north in Doncaster, and in Dorking in Surrey. Now, I have used agents all of the time on those properties, and here's why. The reason I use the agent is because my time is more important to me. Now, I'm a business owner as well, and I don't want to be dealing with small little issues. Now, this office where I'm based right now is in Dorking in Surrey. I have a portfolio in Dorking in Surrey. So that would be relatively easy for me to manage that portfolio here. My other portfolio is in Hastings, and we're building one up in Doncaster at the moment. Now, those ones, clearly, it's more suited to an agent because I don't want to travel. Particularly Doncaster is 4 hours there, 4 hours back. It's a whole day to get there and back. What, do you want to go there just because the toilet's broken or something like that? No, I don't, right? And so those make more sense. But the Dorking ones, I could manage myself. So why don't I manage those properties myself? And why shouldn't you do that either? Well, properties I've got in Dorking is a portfolio of flats, and the flats I've got have been really, really well tenanted over the last few years, but there is always something that crops up that the agent can manage. So one of the flats that I've got near the Dorking Halls, in that property, what happened there, we had one of the tenants in 2017 that got into big rent arrears. Now, that's not a conversation that I particularly like having with someone that's struggling to pay their bills. Now, the agent is able to have that conversation and find out, why aren't you paying your rent on time? And what could we do to help you? And so we found out that the person was between jobs, right? So they were between jobs. And so it was quite unlikely that they were just going to catch up their rent arrears just like that. So we asked them for a proposal on what they recommended, or the agent did. And then the agent managed those payments, and we caught up within 6 months. And so that worked quite well. Now, another property I've got in Dorking, in fact, that same property, we rented it out to somebody just prior to the pandemic, and that person, because of lockdowns and stuff like that, they were having a lot of parties in there because you couldn't go out, right? And so they were having parties in there. They were disturbing other people in the block. It was getting quite frustrating. And if you want to evict someone, it can be difficult, right? There was, particularly at that time, there were lots of rules that saying you couldn't get people to leave your property, but we needed to make sure that we got that property back. We didn't want to annoy all the other tenants in there. They weren't my tenants, but other people's tenants and people that I'd known because I'd lived in that block. This is the property I bought in 1999. And so the agent was able to manage that process. We didn't need to go to court. We just persuaded them over time that, look, this probably isn't the property for you. And the agent was able to find them somewhere that was way more suitable. Now, in that time, that tenant, by having these parties, caused significant damage to the property, more than the deposit would have covered. Now, if I was managing that property, I would have then had to take that property owner or the tenant to court. they would have maybe said that they couldn't afford to pay, and then I would have got paid 50 quid a month for the rest of my life to get that money back. Now, what the agent did that was really powerful for me there was, by originally letting that out, they actually got a guarantor on that property, which is difficult to do if you're just a private landlord. So they got a guarantor, they had all the paperwork legally done, and that guarantor was then contacted and said, look, there's some damage to the property here, we need you to do the work. We obviously took the deposit, and we needed about 1,500 quid on top of that, which the guarantor sorted out. Now, the agent had those difficult conversations. The agent chased that money in as well, and we got paid that within 4 weeks, which was really, really important. So we didn't lose any money. We got the property refurbished, just as a mild refurbishment was needed there, and we got that back on the market pretty much within 2 weeks. It was rented out, which was pretty good. So we didn't have a big gap, and so that's what the agent did. Now, also, there's a good thing there, right? So the agent had other tenants waiting that needed a 1-bedroom flat, and they were able to move someone in straight away. Obviously, we gave it a lick of paint, new carpets, did the stuff we needed to do, and that tenant moved in. So our void period was minimized significantly, and that wouldn't have happened if I was doing it myself. And let's talk about some other areas of the country, so particularly Hastings, for example. And so in Hastings, we've got some properties in Hastings. We've got a house down there, and the house is old, right? It's had a full refurbishment in 2020, but still things need to be done to it. And the agent is able to manage that for me. So the agent will reach out and say, look, for example, there's a light fitting in the bathroom that needs fixing at the moment. And we've sorted that out with the tenant, and the tenant's going to fix it themselves, and we're just going to send them the money to do that. That's far cheaper. But we've had issues where maybe the toilet broke or the bath broke or something like that happened. And so the agent finds a local plumber and gets someone out, because I don't have tradespeople in that area. When I did the refurbishment, I brought my team from Dorking down and did that, but I don't have a team of local builders that I can rely on, which the agent will then do. Also, agents are very good at getting you your rental increases. Now, some of my properties, we've increased the rent in 2022. Some we haven't, depending on the tenant. And so the agent is able to have those conversations, to have a contract in there that says your rent will be reviewed, and we'll be looking at it in comparison to inflation, and they will manage all of that stuff for you. And that's really important when you need to look to refinance your property or release equity in there. You're going to need your rent to have increased to be able to get that buy-to-let on a better term, also to get that equity release that you want to have, which you can't do if you kept the rent the same for years and years and years. So the agent will also be really, really powerful for that. Now, the agent also has access to portals that you don't have. And so I know, because I'm a business coach as well, and I work with a ton of estate agents, things like Rightmove cost a lot of money. Like, they have to pay a fortune to get the properties on there. And that's where most tenants look. Most of the quality tenants that we've got, 99% of them have come from Rightmove, right? Now, of course, people use other platforms and stuff like that, but we found that the quality of tenants on Rightmove is by far the best for us, right? For our type of tenant that we're looking for. And so the agent has access to Rightmove, which I don't have. And by them advertising on Rightmove, they bring in the quality tenants. They're paying for the Rightmove software, which I couldn't afford. It wouldn't make sense for me to get that on a month-by-month basis. And so that brings me a high-quality tenant in. Now, one other thing that the agents are doing, which we could do, but it's not that difficult. It is difficult, in fact, is to vet the tenants that we get. And so every tenant that we have in all of our portfolio, they are they have a full references taken on them, check that they can afford the property. So there's a check on affordability. There's a deposit taken, which is held by a neutral party, right? And that's all legal and above board and stuff like that as well. So all of that vetting is really, really important part of the property journey, right? And so an estate agent or a letting agent does all of this stuff for you. And so I just find that running my portfolio through an estate agent or letting agent is really, really important. I want to be able to be hands off and have passive income through my property portfolio. I don't want to be dealing with calls at 2 a.m. because a light bulb's gone or the neighbors are being loud or something like that. The agent can deal with all of that stuff for me, and that's really, really important. Look, as an investor, things do go wrong from time to time, but don't get me wrong, on the majority of the time they go well. But of course, you're going to get leaks, you're going to get all sorts of different issues over the years, and the agent will deal with all of that. So that's why I think you should use an agent if you're a property investor, if you're serious about really making income. Now, I've got tons more videos on property growth and investment, but one thing that I'm really keen on at the moment is getting across the message of why you shouldn't pay off your mortgages on your property portfolio. And I've made a quick video, which you can check out here, where you can find out why you should never pay off your mortgages. It's one of the most commented videos. There's lots of fors and against on that. But if you didn't do it earlier, subscribe to this channel. We're on a journey. We're bringing you on our journey of buying and growing our property portfolio. So I'm building out my portfolio, but I'm building a portfolio for my two girls, Amelie, who's 1, Georgia, who's 21. We've already bought some properties. You can check that out all on this channel, but join us. Come and see how it works out, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, go and check out that video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.